As we reach mid-September, I finally see mud. No, it is not this bad, but it's still fun to watch. This welcome sight from the sky comes at a very much needed time. A lot of my lines have been retreating, as anyone watching has known. With the cities of Orel, Kursk, and Kharkov evacuated, the new line stretching from Tula to Rostov is manned by mostly exhausted divisions. Taking a look at my turn summary, another 170,000 men gone. Unfortunately, 2,000 guns. I cannot keep this up, but 400 tanks and 382 aircraft is something I'm satisfied with. In Crimea, he makes minimal gains. We'll look at that later. But near the city of Rostov, he does move a few mechanized divisions near my lines. His logistical chain seems to be slowing down. As we move north, most of the area around Kharkov sits still. From his units near Kursk move right up near Voronezh. And east of Orel, he does not exploit the gap that I have in my lines. This is either from being unaware that it exists or not having the supplies to do an operation there. Along the rest of the lines, little ground is exchanged. The cavalry division that I tried attacking near the city of Tula is reinforced and does poke a small hole through my line, threatening south of Moscow a little bit, but we're really only talking about one hex here. With the diminished fighting strength of both the northwest and the Leningrad fronts, I've had no choice other than decisions that have obviously led to this, where the city of Leningrad has become isolated. We will take a closer look at this shortly. So this is the entire theater as September 14th begins. I am curious what happens now. All my new reinforcements come in south of Moscow, right near Tula. These reinforcements do offset the 170,000 losses and also the 2,000 guns. Obviously, though, I'm still at a massive disadvantage when it comes to on-map forces. Taking a look at the Stalingrad area, you'll notice a lack of runways. I've been hesitant to build them too fast, trying to keep supplies going to my frontline troops. I've also been resistant in upgrading various airframes. I learned in a previous game that you only obviously produce so many, and I overdid it, and I just never got airplanes to anybody at all. So I took a slower approach at that with this playthrough. Digging into the loadouts that the level bombers have, I'm assuming that depending on what mission I'm going on, I kind of want to lean on one of these to some extent. But well, for this time being, to all intents and purposes, I'm just going to roll with the 100 kilogram bombs internally and externally. So the plan is to take these heavy loaded bombers, hit a panzer division south of Voronezh, infantry division inside of the Crimean Peninsula, recon west of Rezev, and I'm going to try to strike one panzer division that's along the lines east of Leningrad. It's a limited operation, but it's about the best I can manage right now as I continue to try to A, rebuild my air wings, and B, find them locations where they can actually operate out of. In the end, though, I do manage to take out a couple hundred soldiers, about 10 guns, and about 10 tanks. And I only lose 92 aircraft, so I'm relatively happy with it. Shifting over to the defense of Crimea, I begin with retreating the Black Sea amphibious fleet. I'm not sure how to use them yet, or when I'm going to want to, but I don't want to forget them and then have them stuck down here whenever everything falls. I'm assuming I picked the right city to send them to, just based on that little number that says 45. Everything else says 1575, so it seems like it's the best thing in. I'm not sure the rolls to it, whether or not it has to be within like 8 hexes or something, so we will be approaching that possibly. Maybe not until 1942, but maybe sooner. Other than that, it's just a little bit of retreat into the Kerch Peninsula. Gonna put some units into the actual town of Kerch. I'm only noticing now, rewatching this, that I've kind of left the ferry open. I'm not sure the rules of whether I'm flicking with my zone of control if he'll get around it, but we'll see whenever I get my turn back. But this is kind of what I'm going for right now. He doesn't seem like he has much in the area, so hopefully the divisions I have here outweigh his. So these units just showed up naturally on this turn. And the location, the lack of proper rail lines, I'm only able to get one of them into a position. The rest are going to take till next turn to show up. So it's the 136th that I choose to move directly to the city of Rostov. It's technically not enough to make a solid line. So as of now, depending on what forces he's able to bring to bear next turn, he can either move southwest of Rostov across the river near the small town of Azov, or probably cross directly where the cavalry is with the headquarters unit south of Munich. I'm not able to really prevent any of this from happening, so I kind of have to just set it up and see what he's planning on doing. The rest of the line moving up towards Moscow is still searching for some form of defense. Whether or not that comes from the form of terrain or his lack of ability to switch Russian rail lines fast enough is yet to be seen. But the new units that I do bring in are going to help fill in the blanks of this line. It still kind of feels more like using amphibian DNA to make a dinosaur, but we'll continue to play this game. I'm hesitant to use those militia units that are digging in north towards Moscow. After they failed miserably with the Leningrad front, and I've learned that they're not really a full size rifle division. I'm not sure if I really want to put them on the front lines again. I'm also not sure why they're not digging in. They've just been sitting at Fort Level 1 for a couple weeks now. I am curious if it's because they're still under the strategic command of the Moscow department. But this brings us to taking a closer look to the Leningrad front itself. The battles this turn, as has been the case this entire war, they have not gone well. 4 frontline units have all been routed. He then hit 2 units behind them, which were trying desperately to recover militia divisions. He is now 1 hex outside of the city, to the southwest of it, where he immediately resupplied. My options here are very limited. My men are completely exhausted. They've been through entirely too many weeks of frontline fighting. And now with being completely cut off, that's not ending anytime soon. As you can see with the red squares, they're all low on supplies. Half the units in the back are routed and still trying to refit. I can put some inside of this fortress, but so far, the way this campaign's gone, these fortresses seem useless. The situation inside of the city itself seems mostly as just a way to buy time. But if I had to guess, he's probably going to defeat that infantry division to the south of Leningrad. He's going to then most likely defeat the other 2 east, and then he's going to surround the city with either 3 to 4 hexes of full stacked units. So it's going to fall. This is not a campaign where you're going to see a historical depiction of the defense of Leningrad. My only hope is bringing new units to the northwestern front, applying pressure along his lines to the east here, and maybe causing him to divert some of his attention towards this. But I have yet to been able to successfully do any offensive attacks. I don't see that changing anytime in the next 6 weeks. So I'm just updating the situation at Leningrad, but this is what I'm looking at, and it's why I allowed it to be isolated. My worry is still Moscow itself. So I do switch out the 19th Army with a new commander. I put a lot of my action points into that, and a few more fortified regions. So going back to what I was looking at before I even started moving units, this is what he presented me with. The movement, the motions that I took into effect resulted into an image looking more like this. The mod should hopefully hold true for another week or 2, I guess, according to the weather reports. So at this point in time, I am curious what he's able to do. If I could get some relief in the south, then I can focus a lot much more onto the Leningrad area. But if November 1st comes around and I still have control of the city, I'll be a very happy person.